Hello everybody, welcome to my kitchen again. My YouTube channel is She Loves to Cook and Bake. So I want you to go and click on it. After you watch the video, you can click and get the recipe and then subscribe. Thank you. So today we're going to make rice balls. Okay, rice balls is a very common thing to make in Southern Italy. They're used for hors d'oeuvres, appetizers. They are used also as a side dish with your meat, your vegetables, and then the rice balls serve as your starch, okay? Sometimes my mother would make them for us just for a snack, and we also ate them as a little dessert, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So right here I have boiled 2 cups of just plain rice, the long grain rice, and I boiled it for at least 30 minutes until it's well done. We do not want this to be al dente because when it fries, then the rice turns really hard and chewy and crunchy, and we don't want that. So I've already boiled 2 cups of rice and it's been cooling. I drained it really well, all the water out, and now it's been cooling. To that, I'm gonna add my ingredients. Right here I have 3 eggs, and we're gonna put the eggs right in it, okay? 3 large eggs. I have 3 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley. This comes from my garden. I don't have a garden, I just have an herb garden with parsley, mint, and basil. But this is the end of my parsley. To that, I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of pecorino romano, grated, or parmigiano reggiano. Whatever you have in your refrigerator is fine. And I'm going to give it another little stir. Okay, we're going to incorporate all these ingredients that I just put in there. Okay, I have a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to do a couple twists of freshly ground pepper, not too much. Okay. And we're going to stir all this together until it's well incorporated. And it's beginning to smell really good. When I was little, when my mother said she was going to make rice ball, I would get so excited because they are one of my favorite. Okay, now to that, I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of fine panko breadcrumbs. Okay. And we're gonna go back to incorporate everything together. Now, once you've done all this mixing, then you can taste it and see if you need a little bit of more salt, pepper, breadcrumbs, or cheese. This is really up to your liking. You know, they should not be really wet. They should be somewhat dry, otherwise they're not going to form. And what do I mean by that? I'll show you in a minute. Now, if you choose, you can mix these by hand, but I like to do this with a spoon. But I have done it with my hands too. They look pretty mixed to me. If you see that you see some white, that means the rice is not incorporated very well. So you give it a little bit more mixing. All right, I'm going to taste it to see if I need to put anything else in it. I think it's great. I don't need anything. Now, if you cannot eat salt, then you can leave the salt out, okay? Because the Parmigiano Reggiano is already salty. That's the grated cheese. Okay, so we are done with the mixing part of this recipe. Now I'm going to form the rice balls. Okay, right here I have some finely grated breadcrumbs, Italian breadcrumbs. Please don't buy the ones with the seasoning because they're not good, because we don't want no oregano in it. This is what I use. It's Progresso and it's plain, the plain breadcrumbs. This is what I used for the mixing. It's the plain panko breadcrumbs. Okay, so my hands are already washed, but I will wash them again. Okay, I also have 3 cups of plain canola oil in this little pan. Please excuse the looks of my pan. This pan is very old and it's heavy aluminum, and I've been using it for years and it does not stick. Rice balls are very, very tedious to make, especially when they go into the oil. If you don't have the right container, they will fall apart and stick to the bottom, because we also use a little cube of provolone cheese inside. And when you make them, you have to make sure that all the cheese is all covered up. So what I do, I just pretty much judge. I don't measure for this. I get a scoop of mixing, and then I put a cube of cheese in it, and I roll. I roll until they're nice and compact. Okay, so see, it looks like this. Now I am going to roll it into the fine breadcrumbs. This step can be omitted if you don't like breadcrumbs, and a lot of times I made them without the breadcrumbs and they come out just as good. So there's another scoop, another cube of provolone cheese, and I buy the Italian provolone, the pizza cheese, and then I buy it in a chunk, and then I cut my little cubes. Okay, they are very pretty and round, and you're gonna try to make them all uniform, and it really doesn't take very long. Okay, so here is another one. And we'll continue doing this until all the mixture is done, and that would be just about the time when the oil is ready. Okay? Now, you can eat these plain. They're wonderful like that. You can sprinkle some grated cheese on top. You can dip them in marinara sauce. You can dip them in, I make this blue cheese sauce it's like a little dip for our steak, and it has blue cheese, half and half, salt and pepper, and you can use it to dip the rice balls in it. But earlier I told you that sometimes my mother would make them for us for a little snack, a little dessert, and she would roll them in a little bit of sugar. Now it sounds like it's, it wouldn't be good, but it's delicious. And when you're a little kid, anything that is sweet, you'll like. I remember I used to eat them with sugar. But the way we like them now is just plain like this, okay? And I'm going to check the oil to see if it's done, and we're going to start frying a few of them. You don't want to crowd these in your pot. I only put about four or five of them, okay? I don't put more than that because then they get too crowded and they won't brown real nice. You want it to be just like French fries, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to wipe my hands and see what the oil is doing. How do I taste my oil? I do this. I get a little bit of the rice and I put it in here. And if it's sizzling, then that means the oil is almost done, okay? And I have a dish with a paper towel, so we're gonna absorb some of the oil. And this, like I told you, this is about 2.5 cups or 3 of oil, and I use canola oil because it doesn't have too much saturated fat. Unfortunately, when you cook with, and you have to deep fry, deep fried stuff is not too good for us, but once in a while, we don't do this all the time. I do this, if I have a dinner and I want to serve them as hors d'oeuvres, I make them smaller and everybody loves them. So I think my oil is pretty much done. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to drop, we'll see, I usually put one in the middle, and then I put maybe a few around. Maybe I didn't make them too big this time, so maybe I can fit. We'll leave it like there's 7 of them in there, and we're going to leave it here until they start frying. Do not touch them once you put them in the pot, because if you do, then you might break it and the cheese comes out, or they will stick to the bottom of the pot. Just leave them alone until they come to the top, and then you can kind of turn them with my slotted. I use a slotted spoon, and they get nice and golden brown, and you'll see that in a minute. I'm going to go back to finish rolling the other ones, and that way we can do, maybe we'll do them all. All right, I'm going to show you again how I roll them to make sure you understand while those are getting done. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. I appreciate all of you that left comments, and I don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos. And I usually post 2 or 3 videos a week. We'll see how it goes. Usually out of this much rice, you get about maybe 1.5 dozen or sometimes 2 dozens of rice balls. It just depends how big you make them. Now these are also called arancine because when they get fried golden brown, they look like little oranges or little clementines. But in Calabria, we do not fill them with anything else but cheese. You can also, you don't have to put the cheese in the middle. You can just have them plain. But some of the other regions close to Calabria, they fill them with ground beef that it's been cooked in marinara sauce. They fill them with peas and a little bit of marinara sauce inside, but we just like them like this. This is the best way to eat them. My family likes them like this, and that's the way I make them. Now when we travel to Italy, we do sometimes order these, and they do come with the filling inside, the meat or the peas. I'm gonna check they're doing fine. I think this is the last one, okay? And it's sometimes the last one, it's either too small or a little bit bigger. In this case, it came a little bit bigger. That's fine too. We're gonna roll it in the last of the breadcrumbs, and we are done rolling. And I'm gonna wash my hands, and then we're gonna go back to the frying. Okay, so let's go and see what they're doing. See, I told you that once they start to get a little bit brown, then they come up to the top, and then you're gonna let them brown really, really, until they are golden brown. And then we'll drain them on paper towels, and we'll put another batch in it. I've been using this pot for a long time. This belonged to my mom, and that's what she used when she made the rice balls. It's back from 1970s, and she had a whole set of this, and she just loved it when she made the rice balls. So I kind of inherited. And I really don't want to use any other. I have stainless steel pot that I can use, but I tried other pots and nothing works as well as this one here. Okay, I'm going to give it a little stir. I want you to notice how pretty they are, nice and round, and they're getting golden brown. And the reason why I told you make sure that you really form it real tight like a meatball to make sure the cheese doesn't seep out of it, because if it would, then it would make a mess in the oil. I say maybe one more minute and these are done, and we can do another batch. I'm going to start taking them out, and I'm going to show you how pretty they look. So now I'm going to get, now by now the oil is really hot, so it doesn't take very long. We're going to let these absorb the grease a little bit on this paper towel, and then we're going to put them on a serving platter, and then we'll get these out and then we'll taste them. Okay, so if you click below, I will place all the ingredients there for you so you can make them. Okay, but make sure you subscribe so you can see more videos. Okay, like I was telling you, this is my marinara sauce that I made. I bought some fresh tomatoes and I made that for, I'm going to use it when I do some other stuff. This is the blue cheese that I sometimes make for like on top of our steak. And this is a little bit of sugar. So I'm going to open one up, and you can dip it in here, or you can have it for a little dessert. Okay, let me check those for a minute, and then I'll go ahead and we'll do some tasting. Yeah, those still have to cook a little bit more. So I'm gonna get one, watch, because these are really, really hot. And I want to show you what happens when you open it up. It's really hot. The cheese just kind of is melted, and I just wrap it around, and truthfully it's really hot to even taste, but I'm going to. They are really good. I'm going to taste one with my marinara sauce. Now, if you serve these for hors d'oeuvres, then, or for appetizers, then I would use this one and this one, not the sugar. You can also use your favorite dip, like ranch or any other dip that you make that it's good for stuff like this. I'm a blue cheese nut, so I really like the blue cheese on top of mine. But really, my favorite ones are just like this. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you soon and with a new recipe for you. Goodbye. Ciao.